Welcome back to Horns High Studios for another episode of 666 Seconds of Murder. That means each one of these videos is less than 666 seconds or 11 minutes and 6 seconds. So let's get to it. Going back to the Idaho 4 and talking about somebody that was at that Grub Truck video and some interesting things about his story. Remember, though, my videos are for informational purposes only. These are just my opinions and speculation. I'm not saying anybody's guilty of anything. This is all allegedly. These are just my thoughts about a case that interests all of us. Now, I'm sure most of you following the Idaho 4 case have watched the Grub Truck video. It's fascinating to look at how some of these theories of these crimes had gone down. Now, I've seen some creators really dissect the video and pick things apart that I wouldn't have noticed. Some of it I do feel is legit, while others I think are reaching a little bit. But I commend those with the patience to spend that kind of time going through the footage. For those of you who may be new to the case and don't know what I'm talking about, the Grub Truck is a food truck that is located in downtown Moscow, where the college kids go after the bars close on Friday and Saturday nights. They have a live stream that is broadcast on Twitch, and Kaylee's sister Olivia was able to get her hands on that footage for the time that Kaylee and Maddie were there with Jack Showalter at the Grub Truck after they left the Corner Club. Now, there are lots of people coming and going, and, the one thing that I noticed when I watched that video, it appears that others were at the Grub Truck paying close attention to Maddie and Kaylee. It's kind of creepy, to be honest, especially knowing what happens, right? And I know that, young people are buried in their phones constantly, but it seems like these people at the Grub Truck were glued to their phones. Even Kaylee was on her phone the entire time they were there. And it seems like they're all watching the same thing. I don't know. It just seems that way to me. There were several of the sorority girls that were there, Liz Katovich, Molly Gray, and some others. And they knew Kaylee and Maddie well, but they totally ignored them. It even appears that they were laughing at the girls at some point. Was it because Maddie was drunk? Or was it because they were part of some plan to carry out what happened to them? I'm not accusing any of them, but it certainly seemed odd to be watching that footage and wondering what they were thinking. One of the guys in the video is Hayden Villa, and he's from St. Maries, Ohio. And that's about halfway between Moscow and Coeur d'Alene to the north. He was a high school wrestling champion with an impressive record, and he's got long hair in that video. He's wearing a brown sweater that some have referred to as a Charlie Brown sweater, so you know who I'm talking about. Nothing he was doing at the Grub Truck really looked out of place to me, but you can see him very well in the video, and this is an important detail to remember here as we go into this. It's what happens at 3:38 that morning that makes Hayden a bit more suspicious, in my opinion. If you're familiar with the Banfield police body cam video, you know that they left the Banfield just before 3:30 a.m. to go on another call. Now, the Moscow PD showed up to the Identity Apartments at 3:38 a.m. on Main Street in Moscow, only a mile from the Grub Truck. Now, the body cam shows Hayden in that same sweater, standing out in front of the apartment building with another guy. They're standing next to some sort of fold-up street sign like you'd see in a construction zone. The entire thing is very odd. It seems almost staged. It just seems really weird to me because the video is pixelated at random times right in front of Hayden. And it doesn't make much sense because when it's not pixelated, it's hard to tell what they were trying to cover up. I wondered if his sweater had like blood stains on it or something, if that's what they were trying to hide. I don't know. But if you believe the crimes happened like I do, between 2:52 a.m., when that last call was made to Jack DeCore, And at 3:12 a.m., when you see those 4 people running in the Banfield video from the house on King Road in the direction of the Sigma Chi fraternity, then I think it would be very possible for Hayden to be at the Identity Apartments at 3:38 a.m. Now, I'm not saying he's involved, but there are more suspicious things about him that I'm going to get to. Now, the main issue with him is this large lump on the side of his head, kind of near his right temple. It looks like he got clocked, and his nose appears to be swollen a bit as well. It's so obvious that the cop actually asks him on the body cam video, "What happened to your face?" And if you look at him in the Grub Truck, he doesn't have any large bumps on his face or a swollen nose. So what happened to him between about 1:45 a.m., when Kaylee and Maddie left with the private driver, and 3:38 a.m. when he's at the Identity Apartments? When a cop asks him about his face, he makes up some kind of nonsense about it being an older injury from several days before. But anybody who's ever had any kind of contusion like that knows it doesn't stay around that long. I guess unless you got into a fight with Mike Tyson or something. Was he involved with these crimes? I have absolutely no idea. But lying about the reason why he's got this big bump on his face definitely raises an eyebrow. The other odd thing about the video is that he's wearing what appears to be women's slippers, and it's not what he was wearing at the Grub Truck. So did something happen to his shoes to make him have to get rid of them? I'm not judging him about wearing women's slippers, but it's very strange in light of these crimes. And if you watch this video, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, things in the Idaho 4 case just get stranger by the minute. And I was explaining this case to a family member who didn't really know much more than the very basic stuff. And I found it difficult to tell the story without making her head explode. We don't even realize how screwed this case up, how screwed up this case is, because we've been following it so closely. But to someone that hasn't followed it, I can't imagine what it must be like to try to jump into this thing at this point right now. I really don't know what to think about Hayden Villa. I really don't. I do find the large bump on his head and the swollen nose about a half hour after the crimes happened very concerning. Why would he lie to the cops about it? Could he have hit his head on a door stumbling in the house drunk? Sure. But if that was the case, why didn't he just tell the cop that? Why lie and say it's this, big goose egg has been on his head for days? It doesn't make any sense. Lots of questions here once again, but unfortunately no answers. All we can do is keep turning over rocks to see what crawls out. What do you guys think? I mean, if you watched the Grub Truck video, do you have any other observations about it that you want to let me know about? I mean, I'm considering doing a True Crime Deep Cuts on it, but not sure yet. But let me know if you would be interested in that. I maybe take it into consideration. So let me know down below. You guys always provide great comments. I do appreciate that very much. I want to say thank you to the Horns Eye Club. You guys are amazing. I appreciate your support very much. And I appreciate all of you that watch these videos. We'll see you next time on another edition of 666 Seconds of Murder.